Hey, good morning, guys. Today I'm here with the 2018 Mazda 6 Signature, also known as the Mazda 6 Turbo. This has been probably one of the most requested cars on the channel, and I'm really glad to be able to finally get a review in for you guys. So, I've spent a few days in this car already and put some miles on it, and it's interesting because it's a little bit of a surprise for me. Going into this, I thought I was going to expect a really sporty sedan from Mazda, and instead what they've delivered is a little bit more of a luxury experience, and I wasn't expecting that. So I just kind of wanted to say that right off the bat to set the tone for this review and this video. And let's talk a little bit about this car because Mazda's made some pretty nice changes for the 2018 model year, and this is a pretty respectable car for the price. And it's a little bit of a departure from Mazda because of the luxurious nature of this new Mazda 6 Signature. Starting off, let's look on the outside. Same classic Mazda 6 since about 2012. They've stayed with this design. And this is just a nicely refined and honed iteration. These 19-inch wheels fill out the wheel wells very well. They look great. There's a little bit of a change in the grille design. I think overall this is a really nice looking sedan. It always has been. It's a good shape. It doesn't have any disagreeable angles or areas in the design, and it kind of looks good from all sides. Nice big trunk opening, 60/40 folding rear seats that you can bring down with these levers right there that you can pull, and it has a space for you to pull the trunk down. Really lightweight trunk, really easy to open and close. In the back seats, we've got plenty of room. The driver's seat is set to my driving position at 5'10". And we've got a lot of leg space back here. Interesting materials in this car. This is kind of it's almost like an aged leather suede feeling material. It's really nice. This leather is called Napa Brown, and it is very soft to the touch. It feels awesome. You have heated seats in the back, heated and cooled seats in the front, which is a first for the Mazda 6, as well as a heated steering wheel. The materials and the touch of everything is really high quality. They've spent a little bit of extra time on the details, adding felt-lined cubby holes and just little areas that didn't need to be addressed. The carpets are very soft, and overall this is it's a nice place to be. It's a very well appointed interior. For 35 grand, you really can't go wrong. Let's take a look at this new engine, this 2.5 liter turbocharged engine. This is straight from the Mazda CX-9. It makes 227 horsepower on 87 octane and 250 horsepower on 93 octane. It has 310 pound-feet of torque, and it's made into a 6-speed automatic transmission. It's a nice powertrain. The engine and transmission work together in just a great harmony. We'll get into that on the road. Plenty of torque, really nice, smooth power delivery and driving feel. You can see here on the front seat, you've got quite a bit of adjustability. It's easy to find a nice, comfortable driving position. You have 2 memory settings here, and just a nice metal Mazda 6 logo on the kick plate there. Automatic windows on all 4 corners. Alright guys, let's take this thing on the road. So far in this review, everything's been luxury, everything's been nice. The only part where the Mazda 6 falls a little bit short is in the quality of the reverse camera. So I think I've heard some complaints about the new Miata's reverse camera. I assume this is the same unit. It feels like a little bit of a step back. It's just low resolution, and it gets the job done. You can see what's behind you, and then you can see what's in front of you, but it's really pretty low quality video. One thing that is nice is that when you put it into forward, you can kind of get a little graphic on the steering angle of your front wheels, as well as a front-facing camera. Anyway, that's just a little note. Moving on. So right off the bat, at low speeds, we have pretty light steering. It's a little bit heavier weighted than the rest of Mazda's lineup. At first, I thought this car was actually naturally aspirated until I put my foot down. The characteristics of this engine are so responsive, so linear, so just, it feels naturally aspirated. There's no lag. You really, really get power when you want it. And when you put your foot down, it delivers. Max torque at 310 pound-feet of torque is as low as 2,000 RPM. And this transmission is tuned to take advantage of that torque, and really it doesn't need to shift gears a lot. It's not downshifting a bunch. It's not waiting to give you almost red line and then shift in the next gear. It's a really nicely programmed, really well-tuned transmission, and it does a fantastic job of just delivering a really nice driving experience. Handling is adequate. This isn't the lively, sporty sedan that you might expect from Mazda. It's a little bit more of a luxury-tuned experience. And that comes into the level of noise and intrusion and NVH in the cabin. Mazda's done a lot of work tuning this to really be quiet at speed and deliver just a more luxurious experience. They've reduced wind noise, cabin intrusion over bumps, with lots of harmonic tuning and stuff throughout the chassis. And it results in a really nice, quiet, premium feeling sedan. For $35,000, it'd be hard to find something as compelling as this. If you're looking for something that's just a little bit more luxurious. Where I'm a little bit disappointed with the new Mazda 6 is it's not quite fun to drive. It's capable, it's fast, it really corners quite well for what it is, for being a front-wheel drive sedan, but it's not necessarily fun to drive. And that's really where this car falls a little bit short, and that basically just depends on what you're looking for. If you want something that's a riot to drive, get a new Miata. But if you want a good daily driver that gets decent fuel economy, has very luxurious amenities, looks good, feels good inside and out, this is a pretty compelling buy. So it really kind of adds up to what you're looking for. I would say, just while we're sitting here at this light, honestly, this isn't as emotional of a driving experience. It's not as exciting of a drive as the new Accord, or maybe even the new Avalon that I tested last week, or the Camry. It just lacks that sharpness. And but if you go into that knowing that that's the case, it's not as big of a surprise or as big of a letdown. Mazda wasn't creating a sports sedan with this car. They were creating a more luxurious Mazda 6. And they've really, they've achieved something special with that goal in mind. Let's put it, just for fun though, into sport mode, engage the paddle shifters. Super responsive as always. Really, really good transmission for traditional torque converting automatic. The power with this 2.5 liter doesn't necessarily build with the revs. It's definitely a torquier power plant. And that's just something to note. So moving on, a couple other features that's really nice. This heads-up display is great. You can always engage cruise control if you've left it on. Even after turning the car off and turning it on again, all you have to do is press the set button and you're off. The cruise control on this is really ergonomically friendly. It's one of the best systems I've used. You don't have to look down. It's easy to set. You can hold it to increase or decrease by 5-mile-an-hour increments, and you just press the buttons to increase, decrease by 1-mile-per-hour increments. And of course, you can see everything in the heads-up display in front of you. It's really, really a great system, and the radar-guided cruise control works pretty well. So as you can probably hear, not a lot of wind noise, not a lot of road noise from the tires. I'm not having to talk super loudly for you to hear me at 70, 75 miles per hour, and that's nice. That's not something that Mazda's necessarily focused on in the past, and they've done a good job with this Mazda 6, really isolating the cabin and creating a quiet driving experience. Suspension is a little bit more on the comfort side, but it's a nice balance. It's a pretty well distributed balance between ride and handling. Like I said earlier, it lacks the sharpness and agility and just kind of fun to drive factor, but it still has pretty good capabilities on the road, more than you'd ever really need realistically when driving this car. Decent turning radius here. Wheel returns to center nicely. Everything in this new Mazda 6 is just a little bit heavier. It's a little bit more weighted. It's a little bit more solid feeling. The door close has a really nice thud to it. Everything's just a little bit soft and solid. I like it. I love how responsive this drivetrain is. Brake pedal's fine, no complaints there. Nice linear progression throughout the pedal travel, decent amount of bite, easy to modulate. So what are the takeaways with this new Mazda 6? Well, this is a little bit of a departure from Mazda's efforts recently. Mazda's always been a sporty brand. They've always encouraged that it's about the driving experience. This Mazda 6 is a little bit more of an attempt towards luxury. Mazda's gone a little bit Lexus, so to speak. And I think they've done a really good job with this, especially at the price point of around $35,000. It makes for a pretty good buy if this is what you're looking for. I think, honestly, I think this is probably running on 87 octane right now. It doesn't feel like 250 horsepower. The torque is awesome, but the power never quite gets there in the higher revs. And that may just be the fact that that's what the fuel is in here. When they deliver these cars from the fleet management companies, I don't know what type of gas they put in, so there might be just a little bit of a difference there. But if you want a little bit more power, go for that 93 octane and you can get it. The rest of this car, though, it's just a solid package. It's really nicely buttoned together. There's no rattles, creaks, or strange noises. The materials are very nice in here. This is really well appointed. And this has always just been a solid sedan from Mazda. So it's probably nearing the end of its life cycle, but really this is a nice last-ditch effort in this model's life, and I think it's definitely still very competitive in the market, and the improvements that Mazda has done to the new Mazda 6 I think are very, very welcome. This engine is great. It maybe lacks a little bit of character, but that's because of all the noise isolation that Mazda has done, and it really does pack a pretty decent punch. It's enough performance and really, as much performance as you'd want out of a sedan. So you can always have more power, but this is just a nice balance. And I think that's kind of a good way to sum up this vehicle overall, is that it's well balanced. It doesn't do anything incredibly well, It's not necessarily as fun to drive as you would expect from Mazda, but it's balanced between sportiness and luxury. It still performs, it still has high capabilities, but at the same time, it's very luxurious. It's got a heated steering wheel, cooled seats, nice ride, really pretty low levels of noise on the highway, and just an awesome engine and transmission, and really great ergonomics throughout as well. So I think that about sums up my thoughts on the new Mazda 6. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks for watching so far, and I appreciate all the support on the channel lately. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you later. Take care.